I've been working with gold investors for almost 20 years, and I will say, look, it's a cycle like everything else, and no one believes it until it happens. The way it's set up right now is that if it's ever going to go, it's right now. We got huge inflation. We got a stock market that's kind of iffy. People want to find, right now they want to find sort of dividend-paying stocks, but when they get settled going into the fall, they're going to look around and see what's really undervalued.
The Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
Welcome. This is Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. We are sitting down with CEO Tim Clark and Senior VP of Exploration Bryan Atkinson for a sponsor update on Fury Gold Mines. And it's been a little while, Tim. Really happy to do this because so much has happened in the past 2 months since we spoke last. Okay, I guess take a look at Dolly Varden, their recent strike. Of course, the market pays it no respect, but this was really a significant intersect here, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that was a big deal for them, and that was really exciting to see. You're right, the market hasn't paid them for that, and I don't think it's paid a lot of companies in this space. So, we were talking a few minutes ago before we got started, and you do all your hard work in these kind of environments and you keep pushing that boulder uphill, and it's going to pay a lot of dividends. Dolly has a great setup. They're going to be very desirable for a lot of people if they keep going like this. As a third owner of the company, we're completely supportive of what the management is doing. We're right in the room. We're involved in technical studies. We're involved in their everyday actions, and they're doing a lot right. And then for our company, we've, as you will probably jump into in a second, we had our own results that came out, and on the Hinge and on Eau Claire, they were great. We're thrilled. It's just what we needed. We still think we have our best holes ahead of us, but at the same time, we were able to clean up that Éléonore South joint venture. Newmont and us bought out Azimut, and basically we're in a 50-50 or 50.1 and 49.9 but we are the operator, which is key. I will tell you that there's a real positive sentiment. We know there's gold there. We just don't know how much, and we're going to find out. And so from our standpoint, as I said to you, I wouldn't have changed a thing that we've done in the last year. Everything that we've wanted to add has happened. And we're heading into what I think could be a really interesting market in September. We just got notice out that we're seeing 10% inflation in England already with bread and other goods. And that's just going to add fuel to the fire. I think people have been hesitant to jump in the junior exploration space. I get it. But I will tell you, if you are thinking about it, we are as well positioned as I think anybody. We're still sitting on $10 million in the treasury. We got a lot of marketing ahead of us. We've done a lot of marketing in May, June, and July. And I think what you probably want to do is hear from Bryan a little bit about some of the drill results, because I think that's what everybody wants to kind of get a handle on.
Absolutely. Bryan, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. This is your first time appearing on FSN. The recent drill results at the Hinge zone, multiple zones of high grade, also expanding the deposit. Can you just tell us the significance besides the grades? We went as high as 20.6 grams per ton, but it's a lot bigger story than that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So exploring the Hinge, we kind of got into it at the end of last year with some look at the geology and understanding that there was a structural and stratigraphic control to the mineralization here, and we've at Eau Claire, and we've just started following up on that with this year's drilling. So this hole had 15 zones of mineralization across the 250 meters of core length. It's a massive zone of mineralization alteration, lots of fluid flow coming through there. You can see, 1.3 grams over 17 and a half meters. And as you mentioned, a meter at over 20 grams within that. So there's grade, there's width. It's 330 meters out from the deposit. So that's an over 20% increase in the mineralized footprint of the deposit. So we're gung ho on it. We've got three additional holes pending. and we're going to come around and drill it from the other side here in the near future.
So I was reading, it expands the width of the deposit by around 20%. Do I have that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Right. So right now the resource, I think, was around 1.27 million. So when the update comes, it's going to be significant.
Yeah, we're feeling that. Right now, these are wide-spaced holes. We've got a lot of infill to come back in to be able to tie it in and complete that resource estimate. But we're definitely feeling good in that we're on to the zone of the highest fluid flow and best mineralization as we go through there. Still some learning to do, and as we bring that back towards the resource, I think we're going to have good success doing that.
Okay, and then so we got 2 drills going right now. One there, the other Percival.
Correct.
What's your impression there? Obviously, we haven't gotten any results back yet. We don't know exactly what lies beneath, but it looks interesting.
Yeah, definitely. A zone of historic drilling, 2018, 2019, initial discovery, rock sample in 2018. They put the drill right behind it. The second hole into it was 93 meters at 2.2 grams. Fairly exciting. And again, we went in there and looked at the geophysics and the data that was already existing, redid an interpretation and targeted off of that. And we found another zone, a parallel zone, 500 meters to the east. And that's where we did the first 3 holes into it. And there's a very similar silicified breccia with a lot of sulfide in it that we intercepted in all 3 of those holes out there. It looks very similar to the Percival proper mineralization. So we're a few weeks out from seeing the results from the first hole there. And right currently the drill's moved and we're drilling extensions underneath the historical drilling at Percival.
Well, it's exciting to see what the results look like. Tim, we've had these assay lab delays yet again. I know there's been a little bit of angst out there, but every life is just hurry up and wait, right?
Well, we've all realized you got to be patient at certain times, and this is one of those markets. The good news for us is it really is not slowing us down in terms of what we want to drill because we've got enough places to drill. We got the North Limb, we got the Gap, we got the Eastern Extension, we got Percival proper and the step out of Percival, we got the Hinge. So there's a lot to do, but the problem I think a little bit in the beginning of the summer, everybody was waiting for results. We thought we were going to have them out earlier. The day before we're supposed to get them, they call up and say we're pushing it out. Is frustrating because everybody assumes the worst, but what I would just reiterate is that this is a mining industry, and you are going to have some delays. But the truth is, we feel really good about where we are and what we're doing, and we're really excited to see what's going to happen this fall. I went up to camp about a week ago, but it's open in every direction, right, Brian?
Yeah, no, definitely, and we're finding new things and just kind of opening up the playbook rather than just sticking close to the resource.
Okay. Hey, and Tim, just tell us more about what's going on as far as with Fury and Newmont, the Éléonore South Gold Project. Why is that so attractive?
There's a 5.5 kilometer anomaly in the middle of the joint venture. When you look at Éléonore, I think people thought maybe they might sell that asset at some point. We sat down with them at PDAC and they've extended the mine life 4 to 5 years already. They're not going anywhere. They've had their chance to sell. When we went up there, if you're up there looking at the area and you see how big a facility the Éléonore facility is, and the property that is right next door is the joint venture, it would be really convenient to service their mill if we found a nice big deposit, and it's worth exploring. Absolutely. I think some of the questions are, why would they do a joint venture? Well, I've talked to Newmont and I've talked to Agnico and some other companies. They really value good exploration. We can do it better, cheaper, more efficiently. It's a really great symbiotic, relationship. And this is why these companies exist. And, having alignment with these big guys, they want you to be successful and they're happy to support what you're doing. It's a big property out there. There's definitely some opportunity to have a big hit. And why wouldn't they want to find that literally next door to their Éléonore property?
And it's a huge land position there too.
Yeah, it's massive, and it's amazing. Until you get there, you don't realize. You think it's pretty far away. It's not. It's right there. You can see from the outcropping. You can see their project in their buildings. It's awesome. So we'll see what happens with that. We're going to get the drill bits in there as soon as we can. I think probably next March. But that's that we don't have any valuation in any of the models in the street with the brokers, the analysts. We don't have any credit for that in the market and the share price. It's a big miss because that's a big exploration project with potentially massive backing from Newmont. I really am kind of surprised we don't get more credit for it. It was something that was just not talked about when I got here. And now that it took a long time to clean up and find an agreement, that I'm just going to tell you, a Newmont of that size, that powerhouse, to spend that kind of time on a small company with us to go look at that property says a lot. And there's real exploration opportunity there, and we're excited.
Yeah, and hey, you're right by the Newmont Éléonore mine, so obviously holds out promise. And like you said, the economies of scale with their mill. It just if something's there, it's really gonna light a fire.
And don't forget, they own 5% or 6% of us already, not including the joint venture. So it's awfully nice to have. And I don't know if everybody's realized, but it is public now that Fidelity took a 7.5% position in our company last spring. We also have another large, one of the top 3 producers involved in invested in our company at the same time. So we've got, we're in the right neighborhood. Let's put it that way.
So, Bryan, you've taken a look at the Éléonore project?
Yeah, definitely. We're it's a great project, great location, as Tim said, and again, some historical work that was sitting there. We've got drilling from 2018 with 6 meters of over 49 grams per ton gold. We've got a nice soil anomaly from 2006 data that's never seen any follow-up work, and that's 5.5 kilometer by 2.5 kilometer soil anomaly. We're excited to get out there with our partners Newmont and follow up on that and get things ready to drill out there.
Right. So, Tim, we're talking about investors. Investors are fickle right now. They have no appetite for the sector. What do you think is going to change everybody's mind and realize that literally they've been the gold mine is right at their feet, and th've missed it? They haven't seen the obvious.
Well, I've been working with gold investors for almost 20 years, and I will say, look, it's a cycle like everything else, and no one believes it until it happens. The way it's set up right now is that if it's ever going to go, it's right now. We got huge inflation. We got a stock market that's kind of iffy. People want to find, right now they want to find sort of dividend-paying stocks, but when they get settled going into the fall, they're going to look around and see what's really undervalued. And commodities is a great play. It's going to get a lot of focus. And, we're going to weed out a lot of the bad guys. And I think we're going to be sitting in the right bucket. And when that happens, the liquidity is really going to crunch who's around. Don't forget that, Newmont, Barrick, and Agnico and the rest of them have been making a ton of cash flow. They've got to put that money to use. They can't perpetually put it out in dividends. They're going to have to invest it. And we're hoping to be one of those companies that they're going to take a look at. And I think we've got as good a chance as any right now.
Yeah, and the declining reserve situation, they have to invest it or they wind down over time. It's just interesting to see. Hey, one other thing is seasonality. We're hitting Q4 and Q1 of 2023. Historically, those are the strong quarters where the stocks and the metal perform.
The interesting part is everybody's going to wait till they see a little bit of an uptick, and it almost will be so fast and people will miss it. It happens so quickly. As I say to investors when I sit down with them face to face, is seed the position, get something in, so you make a better, more educated decision when it comes. If you watch this thing double, Now you're sitting there saying, what do I do? But if you're already up 100%, you don't mind throwing more money into something that you think has legs. And it's a lot of people struggle with that. And that's sort of my personal advice to get into some of these names. It doesn't cost you a lot. I don't think there's a lot of downside. We're trading pretty close to the value of Dolly Varden right now for a lot of ounces in the ground and a lot of good partnerships. I think it's a great bet. And I think there's a lot more upside than there's downside. That's why I bought this spring.
Okay, and I'm a shareholder too, I should disclose. And we at these prices, at these values in the sector, we got to see an M&A wave at some point. You're right.
The M&A is a huge thesis that's been out there for a while. It's long overdue. We saw some last year or so. It hasn't trickled downhill as much, but when it happens, it escalates. I think, as one CEO said to me, COVID really held people up because in the mining space, a lot of the deals get done in person. And now people are going to be back. They got back together down in BMO's conference in Miami, at PDAC. We got a big, couple of conferences coming up in the Denver Gold Conference and Beaver Creek coming up in September. It's only 3 or 4 weeks away. I know there's companies out there, they're going to be looking at these assets because they're just too cheap not to. And if they haven't been doing their job and these bankers haven't been doing their job, they're going to be really sorry because I think it could happen. We just need a little breath of fresh air and for people to take their eye off of some of the other stuff and look because, at the end of the day, value is a really great place to be. And this sector is extremely undervalued. The whole sector is, particularly as juniors, and I think particularly us.
Yeah, and we've seen the broader market rebound somewhat. Maybe it's a short squeeze covering rally, or maybe it's the resumption of the trend. But that definitely takes some of the fire away. But cryptos, which we've felt for a long time, were taking a lot of attention away from the sector. They've been in the dumps too. So
a lot of people also are worried about people like us raising money. And I got to tell you, we're sitting on over $10 million in the treasury. People forget that. It's a big deal. A lot of companies don't have it. I have no intention of raising money at these prices. Why would I give my company away? It would be kind of silly. And there are a lot of people who approach us trying to get in. We don't need it, and we don't want to have to follow up with that kind of stuff. So it's a plus. It's a good position to be in.
Yeah, enviable position to be in. Hey, so go over, take a look at the site, furygoldmines.com. Sign up for notifications so you get the latest drill results like the rest of us. And the ticker symbol in the U.S. and Canada is Fury, F-U-R-Y. Tim, thanks for coming on. Bryan, it's great to meet you. Good luck, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Kerry. It's awesome.
Thanks very much.
The Financial Survival Network.